Hello, everybody. Welcome. My name is Grimm from Grimm Entertainment. I'll explain a little bit about myself just because I'm going to kind of spread this and make it public. I run Grimm Entertainment, which is a local promotion and booking agency and I've done a little bit of management as well in the past out of Twin Falls, Idaho. I work with like a lot of Idaho and Boise and so on and so forth. I've had kind of issues with, as I'm trying to build the scene in Twin Falls, trying to get locals and everybody in the market to understand like what it takes to actually book these smaller shows to try and build a fan base for the artist as well as for the venue that I work with, because it's a venue that's slowly building their clientele, and we're trying to build everything up, as well as the locals that we have in our scene, which isn't a whole lot, but it's a few that we're trying to help them up as well. But I don't want to sit there and have our artists not understand that where we struggle ourselves. We see people through the door and buying drinks. They think that we're doing well when that's not necessarily 100% the case. So I'm going to do a quick cost breakdown of a basic show for a regional or local, touring artists, and how they get paid, how we do our door sales, how everything else. And this is just going to be all random. This is kind of basically how I do it at the venue I work with at the moment. And it'll kind of give you guys an idea of how much weight goes into these concerts. The bigger the concert, the more we'll be involved in this. And there's different like guarantees, different everything. Literally, is the best way to put it. There's a little bit of everything. As far as this one goes, I'm gonna do it as a basic door split. I'll kind of go down, and explain like that there is different variables that might be involved in certain aspects and changes that would be parts of the dynamic of depending on the show. So say if you got like a bigger national touring act, you're gonna end up with a lot higher payout rate and higher guarantee, higher hospitality, so on and so forth. So here's a basic one that I have set up right now. This is just a basic breakdown. I usually do these for our bigger shows. Our smaller ones I really don't work with as much, but this is the same setup I use, just I don't usually have it written down because it's not as big of a stress. I might be willing to do this just to give people an understanding of how it goes, but this is kind of the way we do it. It's a little nerve-wracking at times, but it's the best way that I've come to make this work. So there's the first thing is, let's go ahead and start at like how much it costs to operate a venue. When a venue, like say they have lights, they have staff, they have food that costs, they have alcohol costs, they have all these costs. Now, alcohol usually does a really good job of paying the bartender, usually, just through sales. Usually, when you're doing a show, the bartender and maybe even the cook kind of get paid usually out of the venue's own sales. It's not always, but it's kind of basically that for the most part. When you're doing a show, the main thing a promoter or agency needs to pay off are the security, sound, and any extra staff that they have. As well as any promotions that it takes to like make sure that the show goes well. So flyering, making the design, making the flyer. I know those are too big a cost in making the flyer usually, but it still takes time. The Facebook event page, if you do any paid promotion, like say on marketing, say on Facebook or Instagram or YouTube or TikTok, that's all take costs. There's usually about a cost they do for smaller shows is usually only about $50 for a smaller show. For bigger shows, it's a little bit different. Extra staff on average is about, say, $75 for a night. It's usually like, 12 to 15 bucks an hour. You're working for 5-6 hours. So I'm going with 75. For a sound guy, this kind of varies very, very drastically. I've seen it as high as $300-400 a night. Sometimes 5, depending on if they have multiple sound guys or one. Our sound staff is about 125, so I'm going to put in 125 for our sound guy. Security staff is a whole different thing. Security usually is like an hourly as well, so it's closer to that 75. And usually we only have the one security guard at the door, so we'll have one doorman, and if any extras is for an extra 75. So it's like 75 per, 75 here, 75 there. So that equals out to, okay, so here we have so we have 125 to the sound man, 275 to security, 75 to, say we did this as an all ages show, we need one guy in the crowd or right next to the crowd or right at the gate where we let the alcohol in and out, making sure that we aren't serving any underage. So there's that extra staff member. Now, if we end up with a bigger show, we may even need more staff, so that ups that even more. So 2, 3, 4, so on and so forth. So right there we have, let's do the calculator real quick. I have a calculator kind of set up on my thing, and that's kind of why I have it right there. 75 plus 75 plus 50 plus 75. So we have $275 in a typical cost to operate on a venue. Now, most venues want to make a small profit off of the show themselves from the door. So most of the time, they usually do a 50% split. Now, so to say $275 is what we have to make for that venue to make money. You know, for us to make money, for the venue to make money, for everything cost overhead. But usually they do just a door split to make sure that they make a little bit of money themselves. So we're going to just do a 50% door split on this, but this gives you a basic idea of how much it costs just to run a small venue without extra staff. There's only one, maybe two bartenders and cooks, one security guard for the door, one security guard for the around the stage and everything else, and then your sound staff. You know, so that's all that you're paying right here. Now, so let's go ahead and put it at a 50% split. All right, 50% split is what we're going to set it at. Okay. So the rental cost, we'll set it at $275 anyway, just to see where we hit it as far as mark. No matter what, we're going to hit the 50% split. So, you know, so if no matter what what we actually make on the night, that's what they're going to take. So they may make money, they may lose money just about as well as us. So if we only make $300, that's $150 to them, $150 to us. We both lost money. You know, so that's kind of how that works. So if if I lose money, they lose money. You know, and if if all of us lose money, then the artists are not getting paid well. And that's the whole issue with how big a fan base you have, how much you promote, how many people you bring to the show. It's not anything to do with how we have no personal gain when it comes to how you guys operate. And as far as artists, as long as we get people through the door that aren't gonna, you know, rape and murder people and do stupid things, then we have no problems with you. We want you on our venue. And I love building an artist, so I'll bring an artist in that's to start out to see if they have anybody and then build them a fan base. I have no problems with that anyway, but those people usually are going to get the least amount of pay. And then, you know, as you build up and you have a fan base locally, then you're going to get more and more pay depending on how that works. And that's kind of how I do the pay scale for the most part. It's kind of depending on your fan base and your travel time. So say if you're a regional or national artist, you're going to get paid more. If you're, you know, local, you're not going to get paid nearly as much. And if you're a local that travels a little bit more, you're going to get paid a little bit higher rate than the one that just is local, say here to Twin Falls. You know, if you're going from Pocatello or if you're coming from Rigby or something else, then I'm going to pay you, just try and pay you a little bit more. Obviously, it depends on how the show did. You know, if I have the extra money, I make sure that each person is paid. Sometimes I just don't have it. It doesn't work. I don't try and take a cut, to be honest with you. I like to try and take 10% of the show at the end of the night, but if that only works if my artists are getting paid the rates that they need, or at least to get home. I've lost so much money, it's stupid. I don't know how many times I paid up an extra $100 out of pocket just because the guarantee didn't come up that I was expecting. You know, that just happens. And then other artists that I've ended up, it's just bad. You know, and I've had to pay them back later on. You know, I do everything I can to try and pay the artist back if it isn't something that didn't happen that night. I work a 9 to 5, so you know, you have to just wait for my next paycheck, and I'll just pay you out of that. I made a promise, I'll pay it. You know, that's kind of the way that works. Anyhow. And if it isn't, and if I did forget to pay you, you just gotta let me know, man. Like sometimes I forget. I got a lot of things going on. I'm a single dad. I run this business. I do a streaming thing on concert up here. Oh, by the way, if anybody's a streamer or likes to watch video game streaming, please hit me up. Grimm_streams. It's my thing. I might end up starting to do kind of concert streams as well, depending on if we see a bunch of people that are interested in us talking about this. And I'm all for doing this on live and chatting about it and having options and so on and so forth and ideas. I'm all for ideas because this is all subjective. Like, everything can be changed, altered. Everybody's got a different way of doing this. This is just the way I do it. I know some would do it a lot like me or very similar or the same style, but this is kind of the way I do it. Anyhow, so back to it instead of just rambling on. So I'm going to go through and all right, now we're going to make up a fake amount of tickets sold, a fake amount of doors sold, and then we can kind of break it down from there. I do want to talk about hospitality before I go too far. Some artists ask for a hospitality package, and that gets sent to them prior. Make sure to ask for that prior or have that written in your contracts or whatever you guys do as a breakdown. If we want to go into contracts and break down on that, I could easily do another video if people are interested in this video. I can go deeper, delve into a lot of different things. This is just a basic breakdown of a basic one. I can go into nationals. I can go into, a bunch of different options there. I'm even down to having podcasts with other people and having conversations with other promoters if they're interested in doing something that way. Anyway, so I just want to make sure that hospitality is something that's a major thing. Some artists ask for payouts. Some artists ask for food, drinks, can even have snacks, the whole 9 yards. Usually what they'll do is they'll have a list of what they want as far as snacks or something. This is for the nationals. And usually you just do a buyout and and it's usually kind of similar to what they're asking in price. Say they have $100 in products or $200 products, you give them just the cash, instead of having to pay the other part. As far as like a local regional, usually it's a hotel or just some extra cash to help them buy a hotel or gas money, not just your guarantees. You'll have hospitality on top of it. I don't know if we're going to we'll put hospitality here too. And I'll just say, sometimes, a good chunk of the time, we do a $50 or at the bar. So it's either food or drink at the bar. So we'll just do an extra $50 for the hospitality package. Now, we're not going to do a guarantee because we're just going to say it's a 50% split for this one. Now, if you do guarantees, you can. And now, if you're a promoter and know your market and you know what you're going to bring in, then you can kind of work with a guarantee just based on that 50% as well, as long as you know that you're going to make it. And if you don't make it, that comes out of your pocket. And that's the thing that a lot of people don't understand. So you have to try and make sure that you get the numbers that you need to pay that person. If we want to do a breakdown of a full guarantee, I have no problems doing that. I just want to see the interest in these videos. Obviously, this is something kind of new I've never really done before as far as this, but it's what I've done for a long time. Also, check out Cultist. I just realized I was wearing their hat. And Serpent Spire. A couple these guys are from Cali. Awesome band. Serpent Spire's from, I believe, Spokane area. Anyway. Door sales breakdown. Okay, so this is going to be the breakdown of sales. So let's say we had 67 people paid altogether. Let's set it off to this. Let's do paid right here. Let's do 67 people. So we didn't have a good show, but we had an all right show. Because really, on a smaller show, your average is between 30 and 80, sometimes 150. If you're lucky, you can get as high as 150. On a big show, these numbers are going to be huge. They're going to be like 300 to 500 people, $10,000, $15,000. Which is, I've seen these numbers and done these numbers before. But this is for our smaller regional local shows, just helping the market grow. This isn't those big national shows. Just making sure we realize this. Okay, so we say we have 67 people paid. So go back to my handy dandy calculator. Okay, and wait, I need to do the buyer tickets. So let's say that we had, I don't know, let's go with 8 tickets online. Or online or whatever, handheld, whatever. Somehow tickets online. And we'll say that they're at the $8 cost instead of a $10 cost. Just because usually I do a cheaper cost for the online sales compared to the door sales or hand sales because it gives them an incentive to buy the ticket. And then we'll do the paid at door was, 59 people? 59 people at the $10. So let's figure this out and figure out exactly what we made that night. And I'm pretty sure we're barely going to make some of these costs. So we've got paid at door. We have 59 people. Calculator. 59 people times $10. So that equals 590. I know I could have done that in my head, but I just want to make sure that I'm... Oh, why did I do it on that? Okay. I don't know why I did it on my phone. Sorry, my bad. But anyway. 59... So I want to make sure that everybody sees the calculations. I don't know why I did that. But anyway. 59 times $10. Let's just go with $10 because that's usually my base rate because it's easiest to get people in at $10. Just because of the local support, it's easier at $10 price tag. And said, I love to do $5, but I don't think artists are worth more than $5. That's my opinion. As artists, every artist are worth more than $5. So it's a $10 ticket price unless it's a bigger show. Bigger shows get higher prices. But we're going to do a $10 basic for the regional, local shows, and it helps make sure that everybody, at least something's getting paid, and it won't turn away people that have somewhat of an interest in it. Because we get a lot of like randoms that are just like, oh, I might be down to go, but I don't know if it's going to be worth it. So I'll check it out for $10. So that helps that. So, okay, so we have $590 just in that. My little thing is not, I don't know if that 590 is going to show up on that, but we'll go like that. Oh, if I can do things right. Yeah, 590 didn't show up on my other one. Let me make my thing a little bit smaller and see if I can get it on there. No. Let's go like that. Sorry, give me 2 seconds, guys. I'm trying to make it to where YouTube can see this fairly well too, and I've got it on a smaller YouTube scale. So, $50 hospitality, $590. Oh, I'm only seeing the 59, so I need to go back like this. Okay, we'll go like this. There we go. So that should help us out to where you can see what we're doing. All right, so $590 is our at the door. So this is what our security guard took in. We'll just say that. That's what our security guard took in at the door. And we got $8 times 8 of them. So we'll do 8. Oh, was it 8? Yeah. Clear that. 8 times 8 is 64. So 64. Oh, it's not clicked on that. Sorry. $64. So 64 and what? 590 is what? I probably should just know it offhand, but anyway, I'm gonna do it anyway. This way. Plus 64. Sorry, brain's farting. Anyway, so 654 is what we made all day. So we'll do it. Final pay at door down here is, what was it? $654. Okay. $654. This is how much the door made altogether from door sales, ticket sales, everything else. So now we got to break this down and see if we paid everything and still can pay the artists what they're needed. Now remember, we get 50% no matter what the house got. So got to remember that. So if we made at least $275, which I'm saying that we did, made $275 for the house. We made house costs, and they made a little bit of money in the house from us. Now, I mean, don't get me wrong, I would love to make that extra money from the house, but I feel it's fair to make sure that the house makes a little bit of extra money instead of just paying the staff, because you are bringing everything in. You're renting the place, you're borrowing everything, you're using their equipment, you're using their sound man. That's just my opinion. I can understand other people's opinions on that, and sometimes you can even con them out of a 60-40 split or a 70-30 split. But that just depends on the show, depends on the variables, and depends on how you talk to the agent. I mean, not the agent, but the venue themselves. Some venues are more lenient than others, are willing to work with others. Others have a flat rate. You have to pay this much before you can even walk through the door. You have to set up a deposit. You have to do this. Every venue is different, but this is just your basic one from saying me being able to borrow them for 50% of the sales. That's pretty much the best way to put what we do at Big Papa's. I borrow their venue for 50% of the sales to make sure that the venue and the artists to get paid. That's the best way to put it. So we have $275. So let's split this by $654 divided by 2 would be $327 is what I got, or what the house got, and what the venue, 327 split. We'll just go with that. So now you know that the house got $327, and I got $327. We'll say it, put it that way. And then now I have to pay the three locals as well as the main artist. So we'll just say there's. Oh, I didn't put the main local. So we'll put the guarantee. We'll put the guarantee, not 50%. Sorry, this is for the artist. Sorry, this I put earlier and I didn't think about it. We'll put the guarantee for the artist. Let's just say it's $100. So let's see if we got everything paid, because let's say 150, because I know that a lot of artists do like to get $150 for regional. We'll just do 150. We'll do $150 for our regional artists get paid, and then we got to split the rest up between the locals. So, and that's just from saying that we had 67 come through the door. So if we had 30 people through the door, I'll do another adjustment to show you how the numbers really show up when you're like have that a big average and difference in average. But anyway. Now the variable on the guarantee is the big thing, because if your artist is like wanting 70% of the door, 60% of the door, $200, $300, $400, $500, you really have to make sure that you have the amount that you need to be able to pay them as well as the local artists at least something. Now, don't get me wrong, local artists should deserve way more than they get paid. I'm now never want to say that this is what the artists deserve by any means. This is just what we're stuck with because of the situation when it comes to building a local concert scene. If we could average 50 to 60 people every concert, then this would be easy to make sure that every artist, or every local, everybody got at least $50 to $100 a night. But if we get 30 to 50 people at a show, under 50 people at a show, we're not going to be able to make much for anybody. And that's just the math. That's just the way the world works. And it's nothing against anybody. It's just how it works. So if you bring fans, you'll make more money. And that's just how that works. Anyhow, this is how that, say, local one. Okay, so we gave $150. So I had $327. So so 327 minus 150. So that means that I have $177 to give to three different locals. Let's say local one is in Twin Falls, but brought in 50% of the market. We'll just say that. I'm not going to add it here, but like they brought in 50% of the fans. We'll say that. It's not easy to tell, but sometimes you can kind of judge how many fans they brought in. I could do it to where I knew and I haven't wrote it down, but it's just too much work sitting there trying to judge. And some people are there for multiple. It's some person. So let's say this one's a Pocatello person, and they brought 25% of the fans, which isn't bad, but it isn't great. But it's Pocatello, so it's like, makes sense. So let's say that they drove further, but they made 25% of they only brought 25% of the fans. And let's say local 3 is another Twin Falls, and it's a new band. Let's just give them credit. It's a new band, and they brought nobody, or 1 or 2 people. You know what I mean? Very little that didn't make a difference to the sales. Let's just put it that way. So we have $177 split up between 3 artists now. Now you've got to remember that I only had $327 split up between 4 artists. And then I try to make something off the top, if I can, which probably not going to be on this one. If anything, maybe the $7. I'm looking at the $7 is probably what I'm going to do. So the Twin Falls local brought in 50%. They're going to make $100. The Pocatello one, we're going to give them $50. And then we're going to give the other twin one $20 just where they're made something and it feels like they are worth something. So that leaves me with promoter made $7. I made a whole $7 on this show. And then and by the way, this is typical for me. This is actually how I break it down and how it comes. And a lot of the times I'm going to end up getting is about... So the highest I probably made on a local regional show is probably $80. The rest of it goes to all of you. I don't try and make anything off of you guys. Like, I know it seems like I probably do, but that's just the way it is. I made $7. So let's just say I made $7 that night. And this is all variable. And now let's go ahead and do a breakdown here in a second with $30. Let's save this to memory right now. So we made $327 at the end of the night, and it got split up $100 to the local, $50 to the Pocatello local, $20 to the Twin Fall local, and the main regional artist got their $150 guarantee. Now, if you don't want to do a guarantee, you can talk to the artist and say, I'm only going to be able to pay you 30-40%. That's doable too, but you have to make sure you confirm that with the artist that you're working with. And you don't have anything, you're setting it up to where it's going to be, messing with that side of it. So that's going to be the main focus, is making sure that you get each one of these artists something at the end of the night. Now we're going to do a breakdown of 30 people at the door. 30. Let's go 32, just where it's kind of an off number because no show ever is right on. Hold on, let me take it in. So save this to memory. That this is how it broke down for a 67 person. So $327 split up, and that's the way everybody got paid. So let's break it down for a $30. So I only really need to get into this part because everything else stays the same cost. No matter how many people you had, you still have to pay the same amount. So that's the key to it. It's like, it's not changing costs. But let's go ahead and put this to where it's not. By the way, that made it to where the house all got paid as well as the $50 hospitality. I didn't really say that, but $327. So they got the house got their $275 plus the $50 hospitality got paid. So they made technically about $3 off of, or no, yeah, $327. Yeah, they made about $2 off of it all. Besides paying the hospitality and the staff, so they made a whole $2 off of 67 people. So 67 people at $10 only made Big Papa's, or the venue. Let's just say, sorry for calling the name out. I didn't mean to do that. It only got them $2. But anyway, the venue I work with is Big Papa's, by the way, in Idaho, Twin Falls. I book there constantly. I'm kind of an in-house promoter, but a lot of people still can promote there. I just help them. But anyhow, so we're going to go ahead and do the paid via ticket sales. Let's do 5 tickets were sold online, and we'll do 27 were sold in-house. So that gives us, okay, so let's calculate this up. Still at the $10 cost. So all of them are going to stay at the $10 cost. So let's go $10. Sorry. $10 times 5. Oh, wait, no, sorry. $8 because we're going to do it for that one first. Well, we'll do the $10 times 27. We'll do that first. We'll just make it easy. $270. So we made $270. Yeah, it's that little of an amount for 30 people there. All right, and then 5 tickets at $8 because we still sold some online, which even drops the cost even more. So we didn't make anything really off of those either. 8 times, let's go with 5. Okay, that's another $40. So we made $310. $310 altogether. That's what we made at the door. So then at a split, that's what, $155? I don't even have to do the math on that one. Yeah, it's a $155 at the door split between the thing. So like, say I barely made the guarantee. So if I left this at a regular guarantee, I'm going to drop the guarantee down to $100 just so you can kind of see better. So, but if I left this at $150, I would have made nothing. The locals would have made nothing. I would have made nothing. I probably would have paid out of pocket to the locals to at least gives them something. And this has happened multiple times before, where I ended up having to pay the locals at least $20 to $50 out of pocket because I barely made it up from the door to pay the headliner or the regional, whatever you want to call it. So anyway, so we'll drop this down to 100 just to where we can say that like we made at least something to get split up between the artists. So, but we still have the $150 or $275 rental cost that didn't get paid at all because we only made $55. So that put them in the hole. So let's say they made it get $155. So that would equals to what? They're in the hole, what? 45 plus 75. They're like $150 in the hole, something like that, $120 in the hole. So they're negative $120. So they're negative $120 from this show that I booked for them. Now, don't get me wrong. This doesn't necessarily add up to they got in the hole because they can do bar sales, they can do everything else. So it might still average out somewhat okay. But from my point of view, I lost that venue money that night. For 31 people there, I lost them money. I know that. I understand that. That's what happened. I lost money. We all lost money. So, and then the door split. So we're gonna go with that. Okay, so that's after the 50%. So this is the 50% door split there. Okay, so we got the $100 guarantee to them, but now we only have $55 left. So that has to go between the three locals. So what do I do? 2025? 20, So that's pretty much what I would do. Is I would probably have two $20 bills in my hand, a $10 bill, and I probably would take the $5. I'm not going to lie, just because I know I didn't make shit off of it. And that's pretty much how it would go if I had like 30 people there. So just imagine if I had 10 or 20 or 15. But if I get at least, say, 50, 67 people, 50 to 80, we may all make profit. At least something. But if I don't get that, we're losing. And that's just the reality of the way concerts go. Don't get me wrong, these numbers are very subjective. Like every area is going to have different numbers. There's going to be different prices for every venue. Some are going to have insurance. Some are going to have variables that you don't know about. They're going to have, some kind of extra fee for underage kids. They're going to have just a bunch of different variables that could throw in a wrench into your costs too. So if you're looking to do a big show, the costs could be astounding. So, I would love to get into going into the nationals and the higher cost shows and everything like that. But I want to know if this video will bring a little bit of a understanding to people on what's going on. If people enjoy it, I could go deeper dive into some of these other standards. This is a little bit of the secrets of promoting and like booking and stuff like that. So I might get a little bit of hate from other promoters for giving this information out. But at the same time, I feel like a lot of locals don't understand what it takes to book these bigger shows. I mean, not bigger shows, mid-sized, smaller shows that are really hard to get, a fan base for. And that's why we need these artists, these people, the fans, to everybody help out and getting these artists known. They have good talent out there. Don't get me wrong, we'll end up having shows that don't have the greatest talent, but that's kind of a hit and miss for it. But if you have a show, if you see an artist that has talent, please share them around, get them some love. I would love to get more involved in doing streams and live stuff with the music industry. I just want to know if it's something you guys would all be interested in. Hi, Dritz. That's Dritz DeWarden back there, my kitty. I don't know if anybody knows Forgotten Realms or Dungeons and Dragons, but it's the Dark Elf. She's my Dark Elf. Or he, sorry, he's my Dark Elf. The female's Gwen, the Panther. But anyhow, so that's pretty much a basic breakdown of how these venues, like smaller shows, actually kind of work for the most part. There is obviously a lot of variables, a lot of differences. Obviously, promoters will have different information that they could put their information, put their 2 cents in. Feel free to comment and let us know how you guys do it, or anything different you guys do, or if this is bullshit numbers, or I don't even care. But this is kind of how we've been doing it and how it's been semi-working for the company I work with. Shout out to Big Papa's for all they're doing for us. There's also a couple other great venues that I've worked with called the Parallel or the Knitting Factory in Boise. There's the Reef, and there is the Gym in Idaho Falls, as well as the Heart in Idaho Falls. There are some great venues here locally that I've worked with in the past, and I just want to give a kind of a shout out to all those guys for working with me and dealing with the headaches that come with everything that I've done for them. I know sometimes I'm not the best at it either, and I've had my hiccups too that I've had to pay back my dues and stuff like that. But I try to do my best I can, and I'm a single dad that barely pays the bills as is, but this is what I like to do on the side. So any extra money kind of gets invested into this. So thank you all for the support for Grimm Entertainment that I've had some shows that have upwards of 500 people. Other ones that have 10 people, but every show is important, and every single one has their, I guess you could say, learning curve for them. So I appreciate everything that everybody does. Shout out to a couple other local promoters like Dyna Duo Presents, and then Johnny Nichols. I can't think of his promotion company. I think it's but Antisocial, I believe. But anyhow, those guys got to do some great promoting in our local network, and Graves Entertainment. And there's a lot of names I'd love to shout out for all the support and help, and kind of boosting what we do around here locally. But I can only be on this for so long. I don't want to make it a huge, long, drawn out video. But if we wanted to get involved in a little more of these things, and I'm all for it, we can make some more videos and get into it. I got everything set up to do podcasts and chats with other companies and artists if they're interested. So thank you all for all the love and support. Again, shout out to Big Papa's, Ed, Sabia, and the twin Tia Brickhouse, and Kelsey, and JT, and Annie, all the ones that I work with over there. You guys are my family, so talk to you all soon. And I have a show in a couple weeks. I believe it's Loki, and a bunch of hip-hop artists, and I got a couple more coming over the next few months that I'm getting back into. I had to take a break for a couple months, so I'm getting back into everything. So thank you all. Much love. Appreciate you. Talk to you later.